guys! So today I'm going to be sharing my club experience stories with you and just my overall outgoing just what I like to do when I go out to a club and you know, where I've been and what has happened and that kind of stuff. This video is going to probably be pretty random, so I'm just going to go ahead and get really right into it. So the first time I went, I could not wait to turn 18 so I could go to my first club, and I went to my first club with my Aunt Joni, who I talked about in my last video about going to jail. She was also who I was talking about, and we used to go down and stay with her. She lived in North Carolina, and there was just, she lived in Greensboro, and I'll just put in pictures of the clubs if I can find them on the internet. I'll just insert clips so you guys can see the clubs and that kind of stuff, and like, so that way you can just feel like you're in the story and get an idea of what it looks like and what the vibe was at the club, what kind of music they played, that kind of stuff. So I cannot wait to turn 18 so I could go to my first club, and I finally did. And the first club that she took me to was a club called the Inferno in Greensboro. So if you guys live there, I'm sure you guys know all about the club. I really liked this club. It was kind of like a 70s, 80s, 90s vibe club. Like, it was really cool, and it just had like a mix of people, so it just wasn't all one race, you know. There was a little bit of everybody in there, and it was kind of took you back. They played a lot of old school music and just like kind of made you feel, I don't know, back in the day, I guess. But I kind of like that kind of stuff, so I really like this club. So obviously you have to go through like security and that kind of stuff, and they check your ID so you can get in and all that, and you pay. I think we had to pay, like, depends on what night you go, you have to pay like however much money to get in there. And it was kind of a downstairs club, which I really like underground clubs. I think those are so cool. So it was kind of like underground, and you walk down these big long steps, and the club is downstairs, and you get down there, and the first thing that catches your eyes is just this big dance floor that is lit up with lights. Like, it's a light up floor, so it changes colors, and it's really cool. So that was like the first thing that I noticed when I got downstairs, was that freaking awesome floor. And I remember, like, we've been out to this club like several times. Like, every time we'd go out, we'd go to this club. But like, I remember in particular, another thing about this club was that they had this swing, and I don't know if they still have it, but they had like this swing up above like one of the bars that people could, like, I think maybe you had to pay, or you got up in and you swung up in the swing and you're way up above everybody else. It was something really crazy, and it would always be really entertaining. Like, me and my aunt would like to people watch, so like we would always, you know, we was always watching people just because crazy stuff would happen. And anyway, so I was 18, so I couldn't buy drinks yet. So my aunt used to actually take me back in the girls' bathroom, and she would buy like Corona, and I drank before we like left the house. So she'd take me back in the bathroom, and I have pictures of this, so I'll insert those pictures so you guys can see them. But we'd be back in the bathroom stall, and I would just like chug her beer back in there and whatever else she had that she could get, because I wasn't able to buy alcohol yet. I was underage, and yeah, so I got really messed up in the bathroom, and that was a really fun time that I remember going to the club that we had a really awesome time. And we also got our picture taken that time by like a professional newspaper person, like took our picture in the club, which was really cool. They put it on like the website, the Inferno website, so we was on the website, so we was like, yeah, we're cool, you know. So like, me and mostly any girl, if you are not with a guy and you go into a club by yourself, more than likely you go to the dance floor, you're gonna have somebody coming up to you wanting to dance with you. At least in my experience and my aunt's experience, that's how it was every time we went out. We always had people coming up to us, guys, and wanting to dance with us. And so we always ended up sandwiched pretty much on the floor with like a guy in front of me, like me and my aunt would stay in the middle, and then I'll have a guy in front of me like dancing, and one behind her, you know. It ends up all fucking awkward and shit, and you're just like sandwiched in on the dance floor. And you're normally like in the Inferno, I remember being like shoulder to shoulder to people. It was so packed all the time, but they played really good music, and it was really easy and fun to dance to. So, and the age of that club was like all ages. Like we even saw a 70-year-old man in there one time getting his groove on in there. It was hilarious. And so yeah, this club was basically for anybody. They had those like seats where you can go and sit down in your private little booth area, but I think you had to like have those reserved or something or pay for them. So it was nice, and they always had like a DJ playing like songs and that kind of stuff, so that was cool. I remember this one time in there, this guy, he was in college or something. He went to college there, and like me and my aunt would always make up a fake name when we went out. So like I was Holly and she was Olivia. It was so funny just to think back on that. But anyways, so I remember this guy like coming up to me and just like asking me if I wanted to dance, and I was like, yeah. So I went and danced with him, and I was kind of messed up at that point anyways. And I remember we were just dancing and talking, and like he would not leave me alone the whole entire night, and he just kept kind of like trying to talk to me, and he was so messed up. Like he was obviously old enough to buy beer because he had a beer in his hand, and like I remember he was kind of goofy looking, like not to be mean, but he was just kind of like, you know, he just wasn't very like totally attractive, but I mean he was okay, I guess. I don't know. And I remember like at some point toward the end of the night, he like started like trying to like kiss me on the cheek and on the neck and stuff, and then I was just like, okay, I'm done with this now. So I just kind of like broke it off with him, and you know, I told him that we was leaving, and I think we went somewhere else. But that's just one story in particular that I won't ever forget, just because it was kind of like I don't know, like I just felt like this guy, he wanted my number and stuff, and I was just kind of like not into giving like this guy my number, because I just didn't really know anything about him, didn't really want to get involved. I didn't live there for one. I lived in West Virginia, so I was just like, nah, I'm just here to have a good time tonight. I don't want to hook up, you know. I didn't find him that attractive anyway, so that was just one little story that I remember. Another time, another club that we went to that was also in Greensboro was called the In Club, which I think they changed it into some other kind of club now, and it was like literally gangster. At least I felt like it was. There was a lot of black people there, and not that that matters at all, but you know, there was a few white people in there, but they played mostly rap music in there, and it was a different vibe than it was at the Inferno. Like, you didn't quite feel as safe in this club as you did in the other club. Like, and I think a few times people has like shotguns in there and done all kinds of crazy stuff, so we didn't stay in there very long. My aunt just wanted to show it to me, and me and my aunt both really like rap music and hip-hop and all that kind of stuff, so I really liked the music in there. I just didn't really like how crowded it was, and you were just like shoulder to shoulder to somebody else, and you couldn't really move around. It was just kind of, plus it smelled weird. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but if you ever go to a club and you really don't want to go to the bathroom, unless the Inferno bathroom actually was pretty clean. Probably the cleanest club bathroom I've ever been in was probably that bathroom, and you know, it was probably, none of the bathrooms are clean, but it was the cleanest one. But most of them are just so dirty. So I just remember like going in the bathroom in there and just being like, oh, not wanting to use the bathroom because it was so gross. And it also had like an upstairs that you could go up to a rooftop club called something. I don't even remember what it was called now. Maybe Heavens something, or I don't know. It was a rooftop club. If you guys know what I'm talking about, if you live there, you're watching this video, then you know what I'm talking about. I'll insert pictures of like these clubs that I remember in Greensboro. And yeah, so that was kind of like my vibe at that club. Like, nobody really, we never stayed there very long just because it just didn't feel safe there. So we left that club, and she showed me some other, those are the only two, no, I'm lying to you. There was another club that I went to in Greensboro, and it was a Latino club, and it was a totally different vibe than any of the other two clubs. Like, it was different, but I had fun at it. Like, me and my aunt went out with her girlfriend and her friend and another friend or something. We all went out one night for her friend's birthday, and we went there, and everybody got so drunk. And like, I remember drinking Bay Breeze Malibu. If you guys have ever heard of that drink, it's awesome. It's like vodka, I think, with cranberry and, or no, I'm sorry, it's pineapple. It's rum. It's rum. It's not vodka. I think it's rum. Yeah, it's rum with cranberry juice, I think, and pineapple or something like that. It's really, really good. If you've never tried it, try a Bay Breeze Malibu. It's freaking awesome. So I would always get those, or she would buy one and let me drink her drink, you know. And the Latino Club played like really upbeat music, like kind of like that dance music, kind of just like really fast-paced music, which I like also. I like that music a lot. So I felt like it was really fun in there, and everybody was just like going hard in there. And then this club, I'll try to find pictures of it, but it also had like an outside. It was also like an outside club. It was like an indoor-outdoor club. It was really cool. And it was a Latino club though, but the only bad thing about the music is that you couldn't understand what they were saying unless you speak Latin, so you couldn't understand the music, but they played really good music, like the beat was good. And yeah, it was a crazy night that night. I remember just like her friend got really, really drunk and we had to like help her back to the vehicle, and her other friend she drove her home that wasn't really drinking any, and then the other girl that we went with, we found in the bathroom. We had to go find this girl because she was so gone out of her mind, and she was in the bathroom. We had to go find her, and she was in there all over some girl, and I just remember it was so crazy because it was just like, what is going on? Because I'm pretty sure this girl had a guy in her life, and I think she had a kid, so she was in there making out with some girl. We had to go get her, and it was just like, okay, we're done. So I wasn't really that drunk that night. I don't think my aunt was either, because my aunt was trying to keep an eye on her best friend that was really, really drunk and wanted to make sure she got home safe. So, but other than that, it was a fun time. Like, we had fun. We sat at this really high top table and we were for a while, and then we got up and danced, and it was really crowded in there as well. I really don't like that about clubs. I don't like when they get really, really crowded and you can't move around and you're just like back to back, shoulder to shoulder to somebody, and you're just feeling like, you know, I don't want to be so close to you, you know? Like, let me have some space. And me and my aunt were always like wanting space so we could dance. And yeah. So those are all the clubs that I went to in North Carolina, and there was so many more that I never got to go to, but I think those were the main ones that she went to that she really liked. And there was this other one that I never got to go to, and then they closed it down, but it was like a 5-story club, and for the longest time I wasn't 21, so I couldn't get into it. And then I turned 21, I went down, and they freaking closed the club, or you could only get into it if you were staying at the hotel, because it was at a hotel. So then I couldn't go to the club then because I wasn't staying at the hotel. It was like, okay, I'm not meant to go to this club, but I really wanted to because that was her favorite club, because it had 5 stories and they all played different types of music, and I was like, oh, that'd be so cool, but I never got to go to it. So yeah, the only other clubs that I've been to in my life were in Morgantown, West Virginia, where I went and watched the Mountaineers play. And I went with my husband to these, and the last time was for my birthday, and my cousin Bobby met up with us, and his ex-boyfriend was there, and we all went out and kind of went walking around, and we didn't get to go in a lot of clubs, but these clubs like aren't really, they're just kind of more like, I don't know, I mean, they're like clubs, but they're like bars, you know what I mean, like bunch of college kids, so it's freaking insane, people just crazy, hollering. It's a whole different vibe than what I had when I went to the ones in North Carolina, because it wasn't just college kids, you know what I mean? And the music, we could not really hardly find any music that we really liked that night. Like, I like hip-hop and rap music, but I think my cousin's more into the dance music, and then my husband's into like the old school rock and the rock and roll and that kind of stuff. So it was really hard for all of us to find a place that played music that we liked, because we all like different music. But I, for myself, like rock and dance and hip-hop, so I like any of it, but it was just kind of hard to find music that suited all of us. So that was that night experience. We actually rented a taxi, which I really recommend if you guys are going to a club and you're going to drink, get a taxi driver to drive you back home or to a friend's, or if you have somebody, or take somebody that's not drinking, your designated driver for the night that's not drinking, that can get you home safely, because it's not worth it to get caught drinking and driving, and you don't want to hurt yourself or hurt someone else either. So that's just one thing I'm really big on doing, is I don't like to do that at all. Never done that, don't want to do it. It's just something that really scares me. So we took a taxi back to our hotel that night, and I really liked that. I really thought, I was like, okay, this night worked out well. We took a taxi to the club, took a taxi back to the hotel, and we could get as drunk as we wanted to. It didn't matter because that person driving us wasn't intoxicated at all, and we got back to where we wanted to be safely. And it was great. It was fun. So those are my club experience stories, and nothing really insane. I'm just kind of telling you guys about the clubs and stuff, like, but nothing really crazy has happened to me at a club or anything. I don't know. I just wouldn't recommend going by yourself, which I'm sure if you're a girl especially, do not go by yourself. I just watch the ID channels way too much, and just always have somebody with you, whether it's a friend, take a guy with you, your boyfriend, just take somebody with you. Don't ever go by yourself because you just don't know what's going to happen, and anything could happen, especially if you're drinking, and then, people do crazy stuff when they're drunk. So, yes, be safe, and, don't do anything too crazy at a club, and yeah. So those are my experience stories of clubbing, and it's nothing too crazy, like I said. I hope you guys enjoyed the video anyways, because I wanted to make another storytelling video for you guys. And yeah, so that's my experiences clubbing, and I love clubbing a lot. I want to go clubbing again so bad. I really just like going out. I like getting dressed up, and I like going out on the town and just having a good time, drinking, and just kind of like people watching other people, because people are so funny, and it's just so fun just to go out with people that you enjoy being with. Also will make you have a great time and a great night. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll try to insert some pictures, like I said, hopefully insert some pictures so you guys can see all the clubs and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna go, and I'll see you guys in my next video. I love you guys.